I'm starting to think I could get quite used to Moza care packages at the moment. They are certainly my favourite time of the day. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here with another wheel unboxing. Yes, you guys might remember a couple of months ago we unboxed the all new Moza GS steering wheel and their R9 base. If you missed out on that video, I would highly recommend going and checking out. There'll be a link if you click the I at the top right hand side of your screens. And yeah, we had some very good fun. In fact, I've still actually got this wheel right here. Of course, here is the GS wheel for those of you that missed it. Like I said, I would highly recommend going back and checking out that review. But Moza came back to me a few weeks after that saying they had another wheel that was circulating around the UK. You know, a couple of other people have already tested it out, and they were like, Matt, do you fancy giving it a go as well? And when I read on the email which wheel it was, I was very happy to give it a try, because today, let me just grab it quickly, we have got, I think, the mother of all Moza Formula wheels. Yeah, we've been able to pocket the FSR wheel for a couple of days to give it a bit of a test drive. I'm going to do a quick unboxing today. Of course, it's not quite going to be the same full-scale one as last time. As well, of course, you've got to remember the fact this is a review unit, so other people have already given it a bit of a test drive, so it's not quite the full unboxing experience, but I'm still expecting this thing to be very cool. Right, well, let's take it off out of the box then. We'll just try and take off these opening top tabs. Whoever's looked after this before me has clearly kept it in very good shape there. We've still got all the tabs and things like that on it, which is very surprising, and also has made it a little bit more difficult to break into. Right, well, as is always the case, a nice big set of stickers as well there that you can put on if you want to change your different binds and things like that. Obviously, you've got instruction manual as well for those of you that will ever need it. But here we go then. It's always good as well, I've noticed, when a wheel company sends you out a bag with your wheel. So we have got another one of those. Just make sure, you know, don't want to spoil the surprise before we break into it properly. But yeah, another lovely branded Moza racing bag once again, and I think we're a little bit more interested in what's inside. Moment of truth. I don't get many better days in a year than when I'm unboxing new sim racing hardware, and oh my lord, Moza, they treat me well. Those team at Moza, again, you know, a massive thank you to them for the support. Look at that. As always, you know, this is, just to quickly mention, of course, Moza have sent this out product free of charge, and of course, this is a review that has been sponsored, but of course, you know, Moza, they don't insist that I say anything in particular about this wheel. All the opinions and feedback, as always, remains my own, but I mean, look at that thing. Of course, the big difference between this one and the other rim that they sent me is that 4.3-inch screen. Of course, you've got the LED bars up the top again, and I mean, more buttons than I think any human will ever be able to use on a sensible race car. You know, of course, modern-day Formula 1 cars with all their hybrid technology and things like that, you've got countless toggle switches. I think that's 5 immediately. A couple of buttons, well, loads of buttons, absolutely everywhere. I mean, you can see it for yourself. There are buttons pretty much everywhere possible on this wheel. Of course, you've got a couple of different sort of slider switches as well for your diff and your brake balance, of course, like you get in a modern Formula 1 car. Of course, you've got a couple of the more sort of toggle shifts as well, of course, the more like, yeah, I can never remember the name of them off the top of my head, but this is very cool once again there, and I can even see myself in the screen, which is probably not what any of you want, is my face on your screen. Of course, we'll do a quick paddle test once again. Listen to this. That is your upshift, and then your clutch as well. And then we'll do brake on, oh sorry, downshift even, I should say, on the other side. So a lot more subtle on the brake side there. Of course, it's not quite as big as, in fact, yeah, it's actually noticeably a whole lot smaller there. Obviously, you can see just how far down the throttle comes. There's very little play actually in the downshift there. So it's very difficult to, of course, accidentally downshift, which I think is generally quite important. Of course, it's not the end of the world if you accidentally upshift your car, but if you downshift too early in a big braking zone or something like that, then you're going to be in a world of hurt. And I'm guessing the second clutch is identical to the first. Yeah, so they're pretty much identical then. on that regard, but I mean, this just looks so cool. Of course, the GS steering wheel that I mean, this is insane. I never thought I'd be in this position. That one, I'm pretty certain, is £450 in the UK. Of course, this one with its screen and a few extra buttons is 580, so it is a little bit more. But of course, you know, if you're spending a couple of grand on some new Moza gear, which, like I said in that first video, I really do think it's probably well worth the money for a lot of people if you're on PC. You know, maybe another 130 quid doesn't sound too much, so you can kind of, you know, show off to your mates that your new Formula wheel has got a screen on it. But yeah, like we did last time then, we'll jump over into my rig. Of course, I've installed all my Moza gear once again. As mentioned, you know, this is sadly only on PC currently. I think I've heard rumours, now none of this comes from Moza directly, but of course speaking to other people that have been using their stuff, there are a couple of rumours and rumblings that they're going to be trying to look towards Xbox and PlayStation compatibility as well, but nothing is guaranteed at the moment. But yeah, let's bolt this on then to my wheel and we'll have a go on F122. Like our last time as well, of course, timestamps will be linked down below. We'll run through some wheel settings and things like that, and yeah, really sort of put this thing through its paces. It's days like today. I absolutely love my job. I'm going to be honest, I am going to nerd out just for 1 second. Please ignore all the mess around this, but I mean, look at that. That is, I've never had a wheel with a proper screen like this, and it is something else. That won't get boring anytime soon, I think, for me. Again, as always, you know, the Moza stuff is super easy to set up as well, but that's pretty cool. Right, well, here we are then for my first lap at Interlagos, and I've just realised I wasn't genuinely expecting everything on the screen to work the way it does. Let me just get my phone and explain everything that I can see currently on this wheel. Right, so let me just talk you through everything then that is currently on this wheel. I apologise, my phone camera isn't brilliant. So you've got your lap time, you've got your position, you've got your gears, you've got your speed, you've got your current lap time, you've got, I'm pretty certain, your delta, although in time trial anyway it seems to be a little bit funny. You've got your battery, you've got how much you've deployed, how much you've got left to use this lap, you've got your tyre temperatures. I've never known a wheel that is able to do this with F122. I just didn't think it was possible. I just never knew there was a way you could get all of this on F122. This is so cool. That goes well and truly beyond anything I was expecting. In fact, I might just spend pretty much all of this video looking down here now. But yeah, I thought, you know, Brazilian Grand Prix last weekend at the time of recording this, you know, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the Brazilian Grand Prix is actually today/tomorrow. Came out on pole, we love to see it. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Of course, I'll run through on my second channel as well, all my wheel settings, everything like that. For those of you that are interested, to be honest, I haven't really changed anything from the previous video that we did with the GS wheels. So yeah, if you went and checked that one out, then yeah, pretty much nothing has changed. But yeah, we'll just do a few laps, get used to it, and then of course we'll jump into a 25% race. I must admit, this wheel, it definitely feels a lot sort of more square than some of the other Formula rims. Of course, it often feels like your hands are way out to the sides when you're using a lot of wheels, but this one, yeah, feels a little bit more sort of chunky in the middle, and to be honest, I quite like that as a stance. In fact, you know, I've said this before about the GS wheel. That one was very wide. I think it was 350mm across. This one, I want to say, is only 310, and of course it's only 4 centimeters, but as any man will know, 4 centimeters is a big difference at the end of the day. But yeah, it's of course trying to get used to the brakes, the throttle, everything like that once more. The Moza pedals, though, are brilliant. Like I said, you know, I'm going to be referencing a lot of things that we did in the full R9 spec review, but yeah, genuinely, I think, you know, if I was just playing F1 on PC, and just only playing on PC games from now on, I'd struggle to you know, not use this kit anymore, because it is just absolutely perfect for the job. And I mean, very competitive pricing as well. Of course, I'll make sure I leave a link, you know, if you want to shop with Moza as well, there'll be a link down below. Of course, if you buy through them, you also massively help support the channel as well, so it would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, this is very cool once again, and I genuinely, like I said, I kind of expected this dash to all work with like iRacing, R-Factor, that sort of thing. I never thought the Codemasters F1 game, it would all just work, and I haven't had to set this up or anything. I've literally just jumped on and it's working. That's how simple it is to set up. Moza have really done some wizardry with their pit house software because things just work. Struggling with front locking down at turn 1, but we'll shut the car down through the centre S. Feels like you can be a lot more precise at the midpoint of corners, of course, because the wheel is that little bit tighter. It kind of feels like you've got a bit better grip on it. So we head down the hill in towards turn 4. Get a really good feel, of course, as well through the base. You know, it really does provide you with a lot of feedback on what the rear end of the car's doing, which, of course, as we all know, for those of you that have used F122, is often quite a difficult thing because you never quite know what the rear end of these cars are doing on this New Year game. But yeah, I mean, the paddle shifters, of course, are really, really nice as well. You know, you get a nice satisfying click, like I said. You know, the upshift is a whole lot easier to press than the downshift, of course, but there's a lot more travel as well. So yeah, it certainly means that you're a little bit more likely potentially to double upshift, but you know, you definitely don't want to be double downshifting in a modern race car either there. Of course, a lot of them do have downshift protection, but there's a pretty surefire way to absolutely destroy your engine. So 1 minute 10.1 hardly sets the world alight, but you know, like I said, I'm still trying to get used to this. Yeah, definitely through the center S, it feels a lot more rigid than sort of other wheels. But again, you know, some of that will be placebo as well. You know, I'm not going to try and pretend that it's not, but yeah, you just feel like you've got, because it's a bit squarer, a bit more control through the corners. As how on earth didn't I invalidate that lap there? I don't think it would take long either, to be honest, to actually get a bit more comfy with this wheel for longer races, just because your shoulders aren't so spread out apart. To be honest, I'm only really still doing laps around here because I just want to get a sub 1 minute 10. Not that I'm a very competitive person or anything like that, but yeah, heading down in towards Loadcell, then trail the brake through that final corner. I've said it before, but the pedals are absolutely fantastic. They can't stop me bottling it, though. That was a horrible line through Loadcell. We'll go for one more glory run then, and try and get down into those 109s. And then, yeah, like I said, we will actually jump into a race with this wheel, because that, of course, is the most important thing. Yeah, just got to be a little bit careful with the brake. Definitely still need some tweaking to quite get it where I'd be quite happy with it. It still feels a little bit on and off. It's just where I'm not used to the Moza Loadcell in the same way I am with my other gears. You can just see there, snagging the wheel and looping it round on the throttle. Bravo, Matt. You know what? I'm going to stop trying to chase that sub 110. Yeah, we will jump into a race then here from Interlagos, starting from the back. Right, well, one thing I do seem to still have an issue with is, for whatever reason, I've set one bind up wrong, and it definitely keeps trying to look to the left-hand side there, so I've got to keep holding that button for whatever reason. But it's a small price to pay. Just make sure that I click all of the right buttons here. Strategy, of course, we'll probably do the alternate. There we go, that one. This is the problem with racing on PC, of course, is it says button 33, and that doesn't mean anything to me, because generally, yes, I'm an Xbox scrub still at the end of the day. But yeah, we'll go for the alternate strategy. Racing as Valtteri Bottas, of course, got it on the hat, so it only made sense for continuity's sake today. But let's wait and see then what we can do, and luckily I've got a formation lap, so I don't have to just immediately jump into it. I mean, this is just so cool. I've never just been able to look down at my tyre temperatures and things like that, and how much battery I've got. This would actually be a game changer, I reckon, in league racing as well for a lot of people, especially if you're still racing in normal T-cam like most people do. I've gone cockpit cam today just for a bit of a change, you know, a bit of fun. But it also, you know, it does match up a lot more, like the dimensions of the wheel match up with what you'd expect a lot more in a real-life Formula 1 car. Like I said, you know, the offering the GS wheel from Moza and then some of the Fanatec stuff is a lot wider, but nowhere near sort of as tall. So it does, yeah, offer quite a different experience there. So let's line up then on the grid here at Interlagos. Of course, I can't reference the real Brazilian Grand Prix because it hasn't happened yet at the time of recording, but we do line up purple. Don't want to spend all day looking behind me. There we go, waiting on the grid. Then follows 5 red lights. Can we get a good start on Moza kit? Lights out, and away we go. And the answer is no. Still struggling to adjust quite to the pedals as we head up towards turn 1, but just going to try and avoid locking up the brakes too badly. There is Latifi going to go for a bit of a send through the first couple of turns. Can we try and get on the power on the way out? I need to try and remember what my overtake button is as well, of course, on this wheel. The answer is I don't quite know off the top of my head there. As we head down in towards turn 4, I think we'll just let the AI kind of sort themselves out early on here. Is it? It's not that one. It's definitely not that one. Let's see what we can do. I might have to go and find it quickly. Of course, it's just enabled in practice. You don't quite get that in a race. Right, now I've got all my buttons then. We'll try this again here from Interlagos. 5 red lights. And it is lights out and away we go. Still struggling a bit with a wheel spinny getaway there, but as we head up towards turn 1, should give us a clear look as to everyone heading through the first corner there. Kevin Magnussen down in P16, that doesn't seem realistic at all as we head through the first couple of turns. But yeah, I mean, once again though, I mean, what can you say about these Moza wheels apart from the build quality is absolutely phenomenal. Steady on the TV, that was a bit moving around in the braking zone if ever I've seen it, but yeah, I mean, the build quality, once again, you know, these wheels do feel so firm, so rigid. You really do think, you know, 24-hour endurance races, things like that would be very, very, you know, you certainly wouldn't worry about running into a hardware issue with this stuff. As we head through the middle sector though on this opening lap, it's just a wall of Formula 1 cars. Of course, we're only in the Alfa Romeo. Certainly not one of the strongest cars anymore in real life. 22 as we'll send it up the inside of both Latifi and Sir Lance there down through the end of the middle sector. But yeah, 2 places gained then on this opening lap. Of course, 18 laps ahead of us here at Sao Paulo, and yeah, certainly on the F1 games nonetheless, one of the best tracks I'd still argue for battling on as well on the games there, as Max Verstappen leads the way as we head towards the end of lap 1. But I mean, it's just so cool. I'm just going to spend half the time looking down, you know. I think if I was using this in, normal videos, as that's Lance Stroll trying to go for it through the first corner, the amount of times I would probably run into the back of someone because I'm just staring down at my screen. Of course, the overtake mode, you know, when you've got that enabled, it does change. That little orange strip will go green. Of course, you got the... Thanks for that, Stroll, again. You've obviously got the rev lines, everything like that, so you know exactly where in the rev range you are as well. It is just so cool. You just get... I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it, at the end of the day, where, of course, on the F1 games, because they're designed to be, you know, sort of very user-friendly, you know, the UI, everything like that, very, very handy, of course. If you're on, like, your R-Factors or your iRacings, of course, you don't get a lot of that information just plastered up on the screen. So a wheel like this is genuinely very, very useful. You know, I'm not quite going to use the term pay to win, but certainly handy. You know, it might give you an edge, let's say, in some racing there. As like I said, you know, the big thing I've noticed as well is how much feel you get from the back end of the car. You know, you really can sort of slide it around a whole lot more than I've noticed on other wheels that I tend to use here. But yeah, not expecting to make particularly, you know, sort of mega progress, as that's always helpful. One thing Moza can't prevent you from getting is still RNG, DRS failures, even I should say, in the car. So that might make overtaking a little bit more difficult early on in this race. But I absolutely love the fact you've got your ERS numbers. You know, you can see everything like that as well. You know, it's so cool. You got a little strip as well that shows you. You know, it moves up and down, of course, with how much battery you've got in the car. Like I said, still struggling to adjust slightly to the pedals. Not suggesting in any way that they're bad. To be honest, it's actually, because I've had my current pedals for so long, they're actually broken, to be honest, at this point. So actually having a pedal that is completely works from 0 all the way to 100 in a very linear way is quite weird for me. And like I said, I'm struggling a little bit with braking and things like that as we head up the hill, though, out towards the final corners once again. Sao Paulo, Brazil, Interlagos is so cool. You know, I absolutely love this, and made even cooler when I can just stare down at my screen as well. I apologise on my microphone, the fact I'm probably getting louder and quieter whenever I look down at it, but, you know, needs must, everything like that. And like I said, you know, it's only about £130 more than the normal GS wheel, and yeah, I think for me, if you know, if I was going to make the choice, I think I know which one I'd probably be tempted to go with. Not to suggest that the GS wheel isn't worth the money. You know, if you've only got enough for that one, I'd hardly say it's certainly not a daylight robbery or anything like that. But it is just not quite. It's got a screen. Surely you can understand when I say it's got a screen, just how cool that is. As yeah, we might just try and sit down a little bit and focus on. I've noticed there's a big gap forming behind us, so I wonder if Stroll picked up some front wing damage behind. But yeah, I don't think I could have caught that on my other wheel. Just those little moments like that, you just get that bit more information out of the car. Let's get my head down and focus and try and put some good laps on the board. In hindsight, I probably should have left my AI at their standard 105 on F122. They are kind of walking away from me at the moment. Maybe I should have just lowered it slightly. Well, they're kind of getting away from me apart from the Canadians, but yeah, I've just got to try and get back inside this DRS train. Of course, there's so many soft runners here that are kind of carrying the rest of the medium runners along. No! Oh, I might have just over-pushed it a bit too much. Maybe in my desperate push to try and close up the cars in front there, I got a little bit overconfident, but, you know, luckily there's still a thing called rewinds on F122. You know what, I think we're actually going to try and box a bit early as well in this Grand Prix, jump onto those soft compound tyres and hopefully undercut our way past a few cars here. So into the pit lane we will come, just to make sure. Oh,
he's going to be hoping for a fast turnaround.
I didn't know I had this on. Did I know this was a feature on F122 broadcast pit stops? I'm not convinced I did, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, we're getting a good look at this as well, then I suppose. I much prefer the immersive ones, but there we go. We're bottled on a fresh set of the soft compound tyres there. They reckon they'll only last 10 laps, and we've certainly... Whoa!
You only have to stop once now. One stop left.
Am I in control? Apparently I am. This is... Oh, that's not gone well. That's not helped us on pit exit. I forgot what my binds were. I've never had that before on F1. There we go. Zhou Guanyu into the pits. One lap after myself. So we are certainly going for quite an aggressive strategy here, but yeah, got to get my head down and find out how much time we've lost as well through forgetting my pit buttons. You know, the paddle shifts, they're always quite a good indicator. You know, I don't know what it is for sim races, but you know, a good paddle shift sound is kind of everything for a lot of us. But yeah, I mean, you've got no flex at all in any of it as well. You know, like I said, it's super easy to set up. Honestly, I'm convinced Moza's quick connect technology as well to mount your wheel, you know, the quick release is actually witchcraft, because you don't actually have to kind of move anything around. It's all pretty much based on magnets. So that, like I said, I sort of bolted this one on and was... It's all in my own head, but I was never fully convinced that it was going to stay on. But so far, unless it suddenly falls into my lap now and then I realise I haven't set it up incorrectly, then yeah, it's not bad. Certainly, it's incredible. I'm not going to beat around the bush, just that everything has been so well thought about on this kit as well. You know, it really does seem like they've kind of gone in with the idea of, we're not going to give it any compromises. It has to be done the right way. And of course, for sim racing, especially with how much competition there is now in the market, if you've got a product that does everything the right way, which Moza really have, they're doing pretty well in a very, very short space of time in the sim racing space. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen a couple of seconds still up the road. I'm definitely not going to be boxing again, Mark, but yeah, we'll see if we can keep closing up. But honestly, I'm sat in P19 with a huge grin on my face because this is super cool. I just keep looking down at the screen. I know I keep saying it, but Moza, once again, they are knocking it out of the park at the moment. And this, of course, is the other age-old debate that you get on YouTube as well. You know, I see it a lot in my comment sections as well, when people go, does more expensive hardware make you faster? Technically, no. Of course, all you're doing is making sure you press the right inputs at the right time. And over one lap, you'll be able to match times with the worst wheel in the world and the most expensive 30 grand cockpit setup. What it does massively improve is your consistency and your confidence. You know, even as this race is going on, I feel more and more confident because of the feedback you get through the wheel. You know, I've often said, I think this wheel, yeah, goes up to 9 Newton meters, and, you know, that is, I think, sensibly pretty much perfect for most people. You know, you sort of see these figures boasted of 30 Newton meters and things like that, and unless you're trying to emulate Group C cars from the 80s, it's kind of pointless. You don't need, most road cars nowadays, or race cars even, won't go more than 10, maybe 12 Newton meters for something, you know, a little bit more out there. There's no point in it anymore. And of course you get all the detail you possibly need without it literally just trying to rip your arms off at any moment. And you're getting that detail still. You're not missing out on anything by not running it at ridiculous Newton meters of torque. It just works really well there. I think we've got another couple of people coming out of the pit lane. There's Alex Albon, so we might be close to racing him on pit exit. But yeah, I mean, even like I said, over a few laps here, this wheel, you just get so much more information from it. You want to push more. It gives you the confidence to push more and more. Because of course now as well, we'll be able to monitor my tyres on my steering wheel. There we go. Latifi into the pit lane as well, so at least we haven't been jumped by him. Let's get back down through turn 1 and 2. We might actually have a fight on our hands towards the end of this one. 6 laps to go here from Interlagos, and we're closing in on Albon and Kevin Magnussen. And yeah, let's try and get a battle on our hands. I know I said it before about the GS wheel as well, but I'm going to say it again here. Honestly, this Moza kit makes me consider switching fully to PC. You know, it's a shame things like Gran Turismo, and of course the fact that I can't send over my F1 My Team career mode, but yeah, from F1 23 onwards, it is so tempting to make the switch there, of course. I do a fair bit of sim racing on PC anyway, but I mean, I think genuinely, if Moza managed to get this stuff working on Xbox, that would be me sold. I don't think I could look back from it, to be honest, as we're going to try and close up to Alex Albon as we head back down towards someone. They use plenty of battery in towards the first corner. I'm sorry, Alex, you broke earlier than I was expecting. The hand of rage goes up as well, so clearly Valtteri felt like... Alex! What was that? Rewind. Right, we'll try that one again then. Pretend like that didn't happen here. Trying to battle with Alex Albon. I feel like the tyres are definitely those starting to go off towards the end of this one. As let's just go have a quick look. Yeah, they're not looking particularly great. Of course, I can just look down and find out what percentage the tyre wear is on, but I kind of forgot that you guys can't. So that would be one thing to consider if I started using this wheel in more videos as well. But yeah, at the moment though, just trying to work out if we can find a way around Albon before the end of this one. Tyres are starting to give up, but you know, maybe I think Ricciardo is on hard compound tyres just in front, so he's definitely causing a bit of a bottleneck, a bit of a roadblock at this stage of the day. Is still, you know, you're getting that feedback through the rear tyres that they are starting to give up the ghost, but still just snagging the brakes there, of course, trying to put power down at the final turn. Let's see if we can this time around get a run on Alex Albon. 3 laps to go here from Interlagos, as you can just see. Sadly, the Alfa Romeo haven't found anywhere that shows on the dash that it's confirmed that you're using the DRS. I have double checked and we are. But yeah, would have been nice to get, you know, maybe a little LED or something Alfa Romeo for next year, just so the drivers know that they have actually activated it. Our tyre wear warning lights come on. I think we're going to be in a world of hurt towards the end of this race. It is just a case of whether we can launch it past Albon once and then try and park the bus, but I don't think we've got enough battery either. In fact, no, I can tell you that just without even looking at the screen that I've got 1% battery left, or looking at my TV screen, sorry, even I should specify. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, that I know I keep saying it, it's not going to get old for me. That is super cool, Moza, and like I said, the fact that I didn't actually expect it to work on F1, I don't know why I didn't expect it to work on F1, I just kind of didn't think it would, but you plug the wheel in, and everything just loaded. I didn't have to change any settings, I didn't have to import anything from Moza Pit House, it just did it, which is incredibly cool. So I imagine there's probably other profiles and things like that you can load up into the game. Of course, I've shown you Pit House before. It is, yeah, customizable to the extreme. It's kind of funny just how much you can change on the Moza Pit House gear as well. But yeah, one more lap to go then here from Interlagos. What I might do, just try and save a bit of battery this time round and then use it all at the final corner on the final lap of the race there, just see if we've got any chance of out-dragging Albon up towards the start-finish line. I have just realised as well, I never put a custom setup on this race, so that's probably why we've struggled a bit as well in comparison to everyone else, because of course the AI, once they're over about 80, they will use custom setups as well around different Grand Prix circuits. As through turn 1, we're actually dropping away now from Alex Albon. Hopefully we haven't lost the DRS. No, we have not just yet, but we've got to try and hang on this final lap of the Grand Prix. I've got no idea who is leading this race. Of course, the immersion of cockpit cam means, funnily enough, I've been focusing on other things throughout a lot of this one. But yeah, we definitely need to try and get closer to that group of cars again. I think the tyres, though, are all but giving up here as Max Verstappen looks like he has won the Brazilian Grand Prix. They're a long, long way ahead of myself there. We're nearly half a lap ahead. Max Verstappen come the end of this 18-lap Grand Prix, but through the final few corners we'll go. The tyres, it was a gamble pitting when we did, but, you know, all part of the fun at the end of the day. It's rounded through the final couple of corners. It is only going to be P18 come the checkered flag. We do beat out both Canadians, though, which is probably quite important at the end of the day. But Moza, fair play. You've done it again. You've absolutely outshone yourselves. This wheel is just another step up from the GS, and I thought that thing was absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to give it back. I don't want to give it back to it. I want to keep hold of it. It's mine. I'm keeping it. I've decided. Moza might not be happy, but I don't want to let this go. Well, there we are then, the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and fair play, El Plan seems to have snuck out of the woodwork again. 7th to 3rd there for Fernando Alonso. We'll have to compare how close those race results are to the real ones this weekend, but yeah, I mean, what more can I say apart from Moza? I'm keeping this wheel. I don't want to give it back to you guys. A massive thank you, of course, to them once more for sending this out. You know, Moza have just been really kitting us out in recent times, and of course, you know, they're doing some fantastic work as well, so always happy to test drive some of their new products. But thank you all so much as well for watching this video. Like I said, if you want to buy any Moza gear, there will be links down in the description below. Of course, if you use my link, you massively help support the channel as well. But they just keep outshining themselves. I don't know how they're managing it. I don't know what's next in the Moza lineup, but I tell you what, I'm incredibly excited. You guys should be as well. And yeah, maybe, just maybe, we'll be back with more Moza hardware reviews in the near future, because I'm certainly going to be trying to get my hands on as much of it as I possibly can.